Perhaps you all have had the similar experience that I've had once in my life, or a few times in my life, where we ask the Lord for something, whether it's to do well in school, to play well in sports. We ask Him for the perfect Christmas gift. Or we might pray for good health. We might pray for a restoration of a relationship. Marriage isn't quite working out, and so we go before Him and we beg Him, Lord, help me with this. Or you might have cancer and you've gone before the Lord and said, Lord, heal me. Do something miraculous. Do something great, Lord. I'm begging you. And in return, you receive nothing. You go to Him in prayer, you ask something, and you hear nothing in return. That happened to me. It's happened to me quite a bit of times, but one time in particular that I still remember, I will always remember it. I was on an 8-day silent retreat. For 8 days, I said nothing, except for about 45 minutes each day, I would meet with a spiritual director and talk about how things were going. Otherwise, I said nothing. I had no phone, no music, no TV, no computer, nothing. Just me and the Lord. And on the 6th night of this 8-day silent retreat, I realized that for 6 days, I had heard nothing from the Lord. Not a peep. And so on this 6th day, I got really frustrated. I got really angry. And I called out to the Lord and I said, Lord, where are you? Come on, I gave up my whole life for you. All I want is for you to tell me how much you love me so that I could be more solidified in my faith. Why aren't you speaking to me right now? And then I heard nothing. Not a peep. So I went back up into my room, my bedroom, and I started crying. I cried for about an hour and a half. And worse yet, I stopped believing in God altogether. I thought to myself, I can't believe I was deceived for so long. All that time I spent praying, or so I thought. All those Sundays I went to Mass, receiving nothing. Being deceived by the Lord. It was terrible. I felt so alone. But then at the end of the night, I felt a little tug in my heart, calling me back down to the chapel where the Blessed Sacrament was reserved. And so I went back down to the chapel, and I just sat there in a chair. And I said, Lord, I don't know if you're there. And I don't know if you are there, I don't know what you want from me to do. But here I am. This is your chance to prove yourself to me, basically. And I didn't hear anything audible with my ears. It's not something that I heard someone speaking to me. But with the ears of my heart, I could sense, or I could hear, you could say, the Lord speaking to me, saying, Brian, you needed to experience that. So you knew exactly how much you depend on me. So you knew exactly how much you needed me. And from that moment on, the Lord poured forth abundant graces into my heart and drew me every day closer to Him. That's not to say I've always felt His presence around me all the time since then. But my faith has grown so much because of that time of crying out, of laying everything I had before the Lord. That's exactly what this woman in the gospel heard, what she experienced. She came to the Lord in a time of great suffering and said, Lord, my daughter is tormented by demons, and I need your help. Please have mercy on me. And she heard nothing in reply. But still she persisted, saying, Lord, help me. It's as though she was saying, I have nowhere else to go. I need you to help me. And then the Lord, He made matters worse. He humiliated her and said, are you kidding me? You're like a dog to me. You're not worthy to receive what I have to give you. Now at that moment, this Canaanite woman, had a very important choice to make. she could have left. It would have been easy to leave and think, that's fine, God doesn't exist anyways. No one can help me. It's not worth it. I'll just sit here in this pain and suffering for the rest of my life. Or maybe I'll find some ways to pretend that it doesn't exist. Or she could have done what she did. And she said, Lord, you're right. I'm not worthy. I am a dog in comparison to you. But even dogs eat what falls from the table of their masters. Lord, I'm not worthy, but still I'm begging you to just throw me a bone. Throw me something. And in that moment where she humiliated herself and gave everything to the Lord, put everything on the line, then it was that the Lord revealed his glory. And he revealed how great this woman's faith was. We each have this same call. Who of us in this church hasn't suffered at some point in time? Who of us in this church isn't suffering at some point in time? Whether we know somebody who's fallen away from the faith, a lot of our parents probably have children who have fallen away from the faith. And that's so hard. Or who perhaps have marriages that aren't working out or maybe didn't work out, and that's hard too. Or children who have parents who just don't quite get along with them, or friends who they're fighting with, or some, brothers and sisters they just don't get along with. Or perhaps some of us have cancer, and that's a real struggle. Or maybe we've just experienced the death of a loved one, or a while ago we've experienced the death of someone really close to us, and it still hurts us. And we call out to the Lord and we say, Lord, help me. Lord, take this away from me. Where are you? And we receive nothing. When we receive nothing, when the Lord allows our suffering to continue for long periods of time, he's inviting us to let him make us great. He's inviting us to enter into his passion, to unite ourselves to him on the cross, and to suffer with him. And through that suffering, his glory is revealed, and we get to share with him in the redemption of the world. That's a beautiful thing. It's also very hard, as we all know. To suffer for a long amount of time is a very difficult thing. That is exactly why we come to Jesus. That's exactly why we come to Mass every weekend. Just before the priest consecrates the body and blood of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist, he says, "Pray, brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to God the Almighty Father." My sacrifice and yours. So the priest offers the Eucharist, which is the sacrifice. But all of us who are not ministerial priests have an opportunity to offer a sacrifice of our own. We have an opportunity to offer with the Eucharist, to unite with the Eucharist all of our sufferings, everything that we have. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned about St. Augustine and how he lived this party lifestyle for so many years and eventually came to see that Jesus Christ and his truth is the truth, the way to live life. In a book that he wrote about his conversion story, he mentions his mother, St. Monica. She's a saint. And he credits her entirely with his conversion. He says, "Because she prayed so much for me, the Lord poured out graces upon me." He says, there was not ever a day where she was not found to be at the altar of the Lord. And you can guarantee that St. Monica, a woman who was suffering so much because her son didn't know the Lord, every day she came to the Lord and offered with the Eucharist, united her suffering with the Eucharist. And through that union of her suffering with Jesus, helped share in the redemption of her son, Augustine. And now the two are great saints. This is our call too. Offer everything that you have at Mass to the Father. So after we say the creed today and pray the prayers of petitions, I would love each of you to spend time praying about what it is that you're suffering with the most. And then when Monsignor Mike says, pray that my sacrifice and yours, you can offer that sacrifice to the Lord with the Eucharist. And then when you come forward to receive the Eucharist, you receive the very body and blood of Jesus Christ within you. And then you're back at your pew and you're praying, and you can offer to the Lord who is within you. You can say, Lord, help me. I know I'm not worthy, but even the dogs eat what falls from their master's table. And the Lord might not grant your prayers right away. But remember that when He allows us to suffer for longer amounts of time, all He's doing is inviting us to become greater and holier. He's inviting us to receive more and more graces over time for the redemption of the world. Offer Him everything that you have. And then one day, He will say to you, "O woman, O man, great is your faith. Let it be done as you wish."